I am Neeraj. This is the first program in this series. In this series, I'll be creating small programs to get a firm and deeper understanding about Rust programming language. Rust is a great language and is in fact it is one of the most beautiful programming language I have ever come across. Like go, so we will learn Rust together in a very firm and very elegant way. So stay tuned. This is a small program written in Rust. This program is simply a calculator to convert a temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius and from Celsius to Fahrenheit. This program takes a few user inputs and based upon the user's choice, so it converts the temperature. So let us see first to have a better idea. So let us run this program. I'll say cargo run to run our program. So it asks me to choose whether what I want to convert from a Celsius to Fahrenheit or from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So let's say I am opting for a F, and it asks for the temperature. So let's say I provide 45 as a temperature, and lastly, so it simply displays the equivalent temperature is a 113 degree Fahrenheit. And if I opt for C for Celsius, again, so I'll provide 45 as my temperature. So the resultant equivalent would be 7.2 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's this is what this program does, and let us try to understand and let us rewrite this program from the scratch so that we will have a fair amount of understanding. Let's start by creating a new project. I'll use cargo new and name of our app. By the way, Cargo is a package manager for Rust, just like NPM is a package manager for Node.js projects, and pip is for Python projects. Cargo is a great package manager indeed. It might have created a directory. So we will dive into our directory and we'll open our VS Code. We will go to SRC directory, and it has created the basic boilerplates. Right now in this, if we run our program just like it is, so we will see the hello world output, but we don't require it. So rather we will say, what do you want to convert? Please select. And next we will have also display some few messages. F for converting from Celsius to Fahrenheit. I'll duplicate it out, and we will expect C for converting from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Unlike Go, so here a semicolon does matter, and we have to be careful about the semicolons. So we'll save it. We will run our program. So we are getting this outputs. So the user is supposed to provide the choice. So now we will need to write the code for taking the user input. We will create a variable that will hold the user choice. Let choice equals string. In this variable, we are going to collect the user input for the choice. For taking the user input, we will use the readline method from the standard input. So it would be stdin dot read line, and we need to provide the variable where we want to collect the input. So we will say a choice, and it must be passed as a reference. And there would be one more error, that every variable in Rust by default it is immutable, and wherever we have to mutate it, so we have to use the keyword mute. And likewise, so we will provide a mute also. With this code, we will be able to get the user input, but this readline method returns a result. We need to handle it. So very simply, so we will provide expect. So we will say, please provide your. Okay, so this way, so we will get the input in the our choice, and now we will also need to check whether the user has provided the valid input or not. Next, I will create a shadow variable of choice. I'll trim the Newland character and also make it to uppercase. Okay. So far, so good. So we have the user values for the choice, and now I'll have a if condition. So we will say if choice is not equals capital F and choice not equals capital C, that means the user input is something else. So we will say very simply say println and simply return to get out of the main function. So far so good. And now I'll create another variable to hold the temperature. Temperature. Oh, that is a Go syntax, not a Rust syntax. And that would also be a string, because every user input from the console, so that is going to be a string. It will create an empty string. And by the way, so it also must be a mutable string. And now we will take the user input in the temperature. So we will again say steady in, and again use read line, and we'll provide the variable temperature. And also, instead of expect, so there are a couple of ways to, there is a semicolon missing. In Go, semicolon is not required, but in Rust, semicolon is required, and actually semicolon matters. So wherever, so we need to be careful where we are using semicolon. And instead of expect, so since the readline function returns a result and there are multiple ways to handle it. So easiest one is the unwrap, expect, unwrap, or we can do a lot of like unwrap or default. So it would be based on the underlying data type. So by the way, so Rust is very specific to types. So types are literally very, very important, just like in Go. And there is no auto conversion. Okay, so we have the temperature. And now since this is a string and we have to perform few operations, so we will need to convert this string into a float value actually. So otherwise we will not be able to perform the calculations. Again, I'll shadow this temperature variable. So we'll create another variable, temperature, or the same name. So if you create a variable with the same name, so that is called shadowing. That would be temperature dot trim. Trim to just remove the white spaces and the new line character, and we'll parse it and unwrap. And here we will need to provide it that what would be data type that we are expecting. So I expect a float 64. So that way, so whatever the temperature, whatever the value, the string value that would be in the line number 22, whatever the value would be, so that would be converted into as a float 64. And instead of unwrap, better to use unwrap or default. So since we are expecting F64, so if the user input is not convertible into a float 64, then it would be 0.0. Now we have everything and we are ready to perform the conversion. So in order to convert for the user input, so we need to have the formula, and the formula for the conversion is this. So from converting from Fahrenheit to Celsius, the formula would be this, and from Celsius to Fahrenheit, so we will need to perform that way. Based on this formula, so we can write if-else statements or a switch statements like in C, C++, but unfortunately, there is no switch statement in Rust. Rather, there is something very beautiful in Rust, and that is a match statement. So we will perform match, and we need to perform the match upon our choice. So let's say choice, and whatever cases that could be, so we will put that inside the this choice curly braces. So the first option could be a capital F, and now we have to, because we are converting from Celsius to Fahrenheit, so we will need to use this formula. So we will put this formula, and temperature times, and it would be, so we need to divide 9 by 5. Rust is very strict to types. Values should be of same type, otherwise it would not return a correct value. So here we are, so our temperature is F64, and we can't perform calculation with a integer. So if we save it, so basically it will raise an error. So we need to convert this into a F64 as well. So conversion from int to F64, that is very, very easy, and there are a couple of ways, but the simplest one is like this, and like this. And also, so we will need to wrap it inside a parenthesis, otherwise, so first our temperature would be multiplied with a 9. And next, so we will need to plus 32. We can also write like this way. So F64, that is purely equivalent. Okay, so this F condition is matched. And now we have to perform for the C. And here also, so it would be temperature And this time it would be, we need to subtract 32, and then we need to multiply 5 divided by 9. So this is the total formula. And obviously, so we need to make it of same type. So we will make it of same type. Okay. And but there is a problem. So there must be a default statement, because since this choice could be a string and that the values could be anything. So Rust is very specific, and in a match statement, so we have to either match all the possible values, or we need to provide a ignore, just like a default statement. So we can have a ignore block, and very simply we will return a default value. Okay, but again there would be a problem, because if we hover it, so this is a string literal, and our choice is a string. So we need to convert. So the types must be of same type. So we will say as str, and that way, so we would be able to perform our match operation. And also, so since in Rust, so we can, every expression, whatever expression that can be evaluated, so we can collect it inside a variable. So let's say we will create a new variable, or let's say call new temp equals, and now we will simply print our statement, and we will provide the appropriate values. So first would be new temperature, and the second would be our choice. So let's see, and let's run our program. Let me clear this. We'll say cargo run. So it is asking me to provide, to choose what I want to perform. So let's say I choose F. Okay, we forgot to have a print statement over there. So let us have a print statement. Please provide temperature. F. So please provide temperature. Let's say I'm providing 45. So I'm getting the converted temperature is 113. Let us also try with C. Let's say 45. Again, I'm getting 7.2. And let us also try to have provide some many random values. So we are getting it not a valid choice, so exceeding. So this is a very simple and very small program. So there are lots of things, like we have used unwrap or default. So, but this is not in a production quality code, best quality code. So we must handle all the errors, and that's all for now. I'll see you next. So till then, take care and happy coding.